When you go worship the sun on sun worship day, guess what? Guess what? Guess what? They don't break that down for you. Let's go to Ezekiel 5 and verses 11. This is the book of Ezekiel chapter 5 and verses 11. Wherefore, as I live, said the Lord Yahweh, surely because thou hast defiled my sanctuary with all that detestable things. You see, some want to slay, they want to slay a swine on the altar. Some want to eat swine flesh. All type of weakness, man. Our people this day, I mean, this day is even worse than back in those days, man. They kill you like nothing, man. Our people, blacks, Latino, and Native, they kill you like nothing, man. Right? He said, because thou hast defiled my sanctuary with all that detestable thing and with all thine abomination, therefore will I also diminish thee. So the Moses said, I'm going to diminish you. I'm going to shrink you. I'm going to reduce you. That's why only a remnant will be saved. Hola. That's why only a remnant will be saved. That's why. The wicked, the tutor, they got to go. They got to die. Death is their portion. They're going to die. It doesn't matter. That's how the Mosai said it. Death is their portion. That's it. According to the will of the Mosai. Whether it be today, tomorrow, right, in a week, within 2 months, 3 months, is their portion. That's what the Mosai is going to give them. Because they're rebellious, right? He said, neither shall mine eyes spare, neither will I have any pity. The Mosai said, I won't have no pity on you. There we go, man. We telling you, some of you go to John 3:16. Oh, God so loved the world. Oh, he gave his only. No, man. You got to understand, buddy. Don't hurt your own self. Don't do that. Don't hurt your own self. Don't do that. You got to understand what the scripture is saying. You got to fully understand. John 3:16, you got to watch out. You got to know what is John 3:16 talking about. All right? Ezekiel chapter 7 and verses 4. This is the book of Ezekiel chapter 7 and verses 4. And my eyes shall not spare thee, neither will I have pity, but I'll recompense thy way upon thee, and thine abomination shall be in the midst of thee. Ye shall know that I am the Lord. When the Mosai bring this spirit, right? When the Mosai bring judgment, vengeance upon you, upon our people, the rebellious of the so-called blacks, so-called Latino and Native, when the Mosai smite you, when the Mosai bring destruction upon you, wars, guess what? Then some of you understand that, you know what? Man, I was messing around. I was messing around with the Mosai. You will see, you will understand. Some of you will see. Then you will know that the Mosai is not to play a game with. All right? Let's go back to Ezekiel chapter 9 and let's finish it up, verses 11. Ezekiel chapter 9, verses 11. And behold, the man clothed with linen, which had the inkhorn by his side, reported the matter, saying, I have done as thou hast commanded me. So, the angel, he said, Lord Yahweh, I've done as you commanded me. I've done it. I've done it as you commanded me. I've done it. Let's go right here. Let's go right here. Let's go in the book of Numbers. Let's go in the book of Numbers, right? We're going to prove it. You got to understand, the Mosai ain't playing no game with you. The Mosai is not in that game with you. Or you listen to the Mosai, you keep the commandment, or you do weakness, all right? You got to pick one side, right? You got to pick one side. All right? Let's read it. This is the book of Numbers, right? This is the book of Numbers chapter 25. Number 25 and verses 1 through verses 1 all the way down through, let me see. All the way down through 11 or 12, actually through 13, right? We're going to read it, all right? Let's read it. This is the book of Numbers. This is a history, right? Shalom, shalom. All praise be unto the Most High. Shalom. Right? Shalom. Let's read it. This is the book of Numbers. This is a history. This happened back in those days. It happened in the time of Moses. It happened in the time of Aaron. So we got to read this to give you warning. To warn you that, guess what? The Messiah is coming with destruction. That's our job, is to warn you out there. A lot of you out there, so-called blacks, Latino, and Native, you rebellious, you don't believe. Hey, we are here to give you warning. Before the Messiah bring war, wrath, vengeance, destruction. Right? So strokes upon you. That's what we're here for. We want to warn you. We want to read you the history. This is the history of the so-called blacks, so-called African Americans, so-called Nigerian, so-called Beninese, South Africa, and the list goes on and on and on, based on your father. Right? This is our true history. So let's read it. So the same thing they've done over there, they're doing all this abomination. They were eating pork, swine flesh, rat, mouse, all type of nonsense. They're doing all this evil. Guess what? And the Messiah sent the angel of destruction. The Messiah sent them, 6 of them down in the time of Ezekiel. And they slay both, like men, women, children, men, it doesn't matter. The Messiah put them to death. Because of what? The sins, the iniquity. So let's read it. Number 25. Number 25 and verses 1. And Israel abode in Shittim, and the people began to commit whoredom. They start doing what? Whoredom. They start worshiping other gods, like our people do today. Like many of our people, they're Muslim. Some of them say they're Christian. Some they worship Buddha. Some they're about to celebrate what? The Day of the Witches, which is Halloween. Halloween is the Day of the Witches. That's the festival of the witches, all right? I want to put out there for YouTube. YouTube, if you hear music in the background, it's not our music. We do not own the music, and we are not playing the music. Disclaimer, the music in the background, YouTube, it is not our music. We just want to put out there for YouTube. Copyright, things like that. Disclaimer, it's not our music. Let's read it. It said, and began to commit whoredom with the daughters of Moab. The daughters, that means the sons, right? It's double for the precept, double for the meaning, right? It's talking about spiritually and physically, both ways, right? Spiritually, they start going after the god of Moab. They start worshiping idols, image, things like that, all right? That's what they're doing, like the same thing our people do today. Some, they don't have the image in their house, but they have it in their mind. A lot of our people in the Christian church, right? Not just the Catholic church, but a lot of our people in the Christian church, what do they have in their mind? They have who? Caesar Borgia as who? As their God. When they see the so-called white man, they think this is their God. That's how most of our people, they believe. That's how they feel. That's what they believe, right? So let's read it. So number 25 and verses 2, right? And they called the people unto the sacrifice of the God. You see, they invite our people, man. They start bringing the so-called Latino, the so-called Native, the so-called blacks, into what? Into the idols, right? To sacrifice unto the idols. And the people did eat, you see, and bow down to their God. A lot of people, because they learned this in Egypt back in those days. They learned from the Egyptian. Because the Egyptian, they were good at witchcraft, right? Sorcery, all type of weakness. The Egyptian, they were doing. So our people being there for a while, guess what? They learned all this wicked way, man. Right? And Israel joined himself unto Baal Peor. Who? Israel. And the anger of the Lord was kindled against Israel. The anger of the Most High. That's what is about to happen on this earth, throughout the function of this earth. It's going to happen to the so-called blacks, so-called African American, so-called Latino and Native. It's about to happen. It's about to happen. How are you?
YAHAWAH.
YAHAWAH, yeah, YAHAWAH. YAHAWAH.
Is it the Orthodox Christian?
No, just Israelite. We keep the commandment and we follow the Bible pretty much through Christ.
Like it.
That's good. All praises, man. Hey, you give glory to the Most High. You see what the Most High, you know, all day long. All right? All right? And he said, and Israel joined himself unto Baal Peor, And the anger of the Lord was kindled against Israel. So that's why you got to keep in mind, man. Because a lot of our people, they're simple, man. They don't understand that. So the Most High, they don't understand, man. They don't understand. They're getting caught up into their feelings, their emotion. No, we cannot deal with emotion, right? That's why I be telling some of my sisters, right? I say you got to cut it off, man. You can't be in the flesh and serve the Most High. It doesn't work like that, right? You got to understand. You see what I'm saying? You got to understand. You got to cast off that emotion. And the Lord said unto Moses, take all the heads of the people. You see that? Take all the heads of the people and hang them up before the Lord against the sun. You see that? Against the sun. The Moses commanded to hang them up. The Moses said, hang them up. The Moses told Moses, slay them and hang them up. Put them to death. You see, that's why you don't want to play with the Moses. You can't play that game with the Moses because the Moses will kill you. He will kill you. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but he will kill you eventually. Keep in mind, the Moses will slay you. He got it, man. The Moses, he got it. Let's read it. He said that the fierce anger of the Lord may be turned away from Israel. So guess what? Moses doing that turned away what? The fierce anger, because the Moses is about to smite everybody. He's about to smite everybody. All right? But when there is one righteous brother that will understand, guess what? The brother allows so many people to be what? To be delivered. All right? And Moses said unto the judges of Israel, slay ye every one of his men that were joined unto Baal Peor. You see that? The Most High playing no game, man. Slay every one of them that is joined unto what? Baal Peor. So you're in a Christian church? Yeah, I don't know, brother. You may want to examine your own self, which way you're going. That's what I just told a sister. You're a sister you see in a Christian church, in Christianity, and you may want to examine your own self, your ways, man. Right? You got to make sure you keep in the law, the commandment of the Most High. You keep in the high holy feast of the Most High, man. All right? And behold, one of the children of Israel came and brought unto his brethren a Midianitish woman, right? So we're dealing with something, right? We're dealing with some weakness already. And the next thing you realize, another brother, another simple brother of our forefather, he showed up with what? With a Midianitish woman. He showed up while they came this morning. The Moses just commanded that they slay all the people that bow down to Baal Peor. The Moses just commanded that's been done through the hand of the judges, right? Guess what? There's no emotion in the Bible. You see that? There's no emotion, man. You got to cast off your emotion. Your feelings, no, brother. You got to cast it off. You got to let it go. You got to let it go. You got to cast off your feelings and your emotion. So what he did, the Moses told him, he said, hang them up. Hang them up against the sun. Hang them up. And that was done, man. It was done as the Moses said it. So you got to keep in mind that you cannot play game with the Moses. So meanwhile, the people mourning about those that when they bow down to the idols, guess what? The elder, he showed up, the brother, he showed up with what? With a Midianitish woman, right? In the sight of Moses and in the sight of all the congregation of the children of Israel who were weeping before the door of the tabernacle. Hola. Hermana, tiene un minuto por la palabra de Dios. Hermana, si Cristo regresa. What does it mean? You follow Jesus? So why are you wearing pants? If you don't mind, why are you wearing pants?
Because I went to work.
It doesn't matter. Your work is not above God. You see, your work is not above God. Understand that, right? So your Christianity is not going to save you. If you don't keep the commandment, you can't be saved, man. Keep in mind. You say you're a Christian? I don't know, man. That's what I was just speaking about. Then she shut up. She said, my work, that's why I wear the pants. No, man. The Most High, He's not with it, man. The Most High, he's not with it. You got to cut it loose, man. Right? I rebuke them sharply. That's how I deal with them. They know I'm going to cut them. They already know. Satan, let them know. Satan, let them know. Because I tell them straight to the face. Satan, let them know, man. I rebuke you sharply. I don't play games. I'll rebuke you. Right? I'll rebuke you. It doesn't matter whether you like it or not. I'll rebuke you. Through the Spirit of the Most High, YAHAWAH, B'Hashem, Yahushai, I will rebuke you. Right? I'll tell you. That's why they got to flee. That's why they got to go. Because they know, man, he got a sword in his hand. Because they know. Because when they come first, they hear me. They hear what I'm preaching. They know. They know that, okay, this brother, he ain't playing no game. She said, I'm a Christian. I said, what does it mean? She said she follow Christ. I said, you follow Christ? Why are you wearing pants, man? Why are you wearing pants? He said, because of my job. I said, is your job above God? Then she got cut to the Spirit. She didn't know what to say, man. Now, as that, she was cut to the Spirit. I said, is your job above God? What are you talking about? So you wear pants to please your boss? Really? Wow, that's what you call job. That's like prostitution to me, man. I call that prostitution. If you got to wear pants to keep your job, that's prostitution right there. That means you got to show your ass, you got to show your behind to everybody at your work. Why the Bible says clearly that what? Your body is the temple of God. Your body is the temple of the Most High, man. So you wearing pants because your boss wants you to wear pants. But God does not want you to wear pants as a woman. God does not want you to wear pants as a woman. Point blank period. Point blank period. Game over. It was not meant for you. It was meant for the man. Let's read it. It said, who were weeping before the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. So the people were already mourning. The people were already crying. The people were already mourning. They were already crying. The people were already mourning. They were already crying. And guess what? He showed up with what? With a woman. Let's see what happened to him. Let's see what happened to him. Let's see. And when Phinehas, the son of Eleazar, the son of Aaron, the priest, saw it, man, this brother, he's zealous for the Most High. As son of this brother, he's the grandson of Aaron, right? He's the grandson of Aaron, right? Right? So Aaron's son is Phinehas, right? And no, Eleazar, right? Right? He said, and when Phinehas, the son of Eleazar, right? So Phinehas is the grandson of who? Of Aaron. Aaron's son is who? Eleazar. So when this young brother, he saw it, let's see what he did. And when Phinehas, the son of Eleazar, the son of Aaron, the priest, saw it, he rose up from among the congregation and took a javelin in his hand. He took a sword. A javelin is a sword. Keep in mind, I told you there's no emotion in the Bible. The Most High ain't playing game with you. It's not because today you got the grace of the Most High. You think that's all. Hey, listen, the Most High is coming with the other side, buddy. The other side you don't see, you don't know. The Most High is coming, buddy. Right? He said, and he went after the men of Israel into the tent. So he went to the house with him. He went to his house. He followed him to his house. He followed him to his house. Right? He followed him to his house. All right? Watch this. And he went after the men of Israel into the tent and thrust both of them through. The men of Israel and the woman through her belly. Imagine that. He killed both of them. And the Midianitish woman and the wicked brother. And the brother, he put them to death, both of them. He didn't spare anybody. No. He didn't spare. Because look, some just bow down to idol. And we're dealing with that. The next thing you realize, somebody coming up. It's like, we got brother, right? They're coming like some type of sin that the Most High, smite them. And they die. And we're talking about the next thing you realize, somebody showed up with some marijuana, talking about he want to smoke weed, he want to get high. The Most High is not with it, man. The Most High is not with your weed. You got to understand that, right? Let's read it. It says, so the plague was stayed from the children of Israel because Phinehas, he got a zeal for the Most High. He went, the way he operated, the Most High said, you know what? You take away my anger. I'm not going to kill everybody here. I'm not going to destroy everybody. The Most High, because of that, the Most High said, you know what? Hey, I appreciate that, man. You just save a lot of souls. So what Phinehas have done is great. It's great. If he did not do that, guess what? The Most High can be wroth with more people. Right? You got to keep in mind. And those that died in the plague were 24,000. So understand, the Most High killed what? 24,000. 24,000 of rebellious so-called blacks and rebellious so-called Latino, Hispanic, and Native. Imagine, one day, because they worship idols. That's why we tell you, you're going to die. You worship this, you believe in this, you're going to die. You will die. Wait, it's coming. It doesn't have to be today. The Most High will smite you with cancer, heart attack, high blood pressure. The Most High will smite you with so many things. You get shot by the police. You get shot by somebody. Guess why? You know why? Because you're worshiping idols. You don't believe in the living power, Yahweh. You believe in men. You worshiping men. Guess what? 24,000 the Most High killed. One day like that, 24,000. They don't teach this in a Christian church. When they go worship the sun, Sunday is 2 words. Sun worship day, Sunday, the day to worship the sun. They don't understand. They don't teach you that. Because they are not teaching you about the Most High. They're teaching you about the God of the Egyptian. The sun god of the Egyptian. That's what they're teaching you. But the people don't see. They say, I'm a Christian. Yeah, I go to church, my pastor. I said, no, you blind, buddy. You blind, buddy. You don't know what you're talking about. You don't know what you worship. Right? Salvation is of the Jews. That's what the Most High say, man. That's what Yahawah Hamashiach said. He said, woman, you worship you know not. He said, we know what we worship. For salvation is of the Jews. It's plain and simple, man. But people can't comprehend. Why? Because the Most High blind them. The Most High blind them because of the spirit. It's very simple. So do not add sin to sin. Do not add sin to sin. Some of you, you worship your boss. You worship the politician. You worship money. Some of you, you worship your dog. You worship your husband. You worship your wife. And the list goes on and on, man. A lot of you do that, we know. Guess what? Death is going to come. Death is going to come. And when it comes, it'll be too late. It's going to be too late. So you got to keep in mind, the Most High, He cometh, man. The Most High cometh. The Most High is coming with full force. You see Sterling today? You take a look at Sterling. Man, the day the Most High is going to come to this area, Sterling, man, the Most High is going to salvage a lot of people. Especially Sterling Boulevard right here. All these people that come over here, they see me here. They go inside, they buy the food, they send the money, they do everything. Guess what? The day God is going to destroy Sterling, a lot of Latino going to die. A lot of blacks going to die. A lot of you going to die. Wait, He's coming. We let you know that set of Most High, man. We let you know that set of Most High. He's coming, man. There's nothing new under the sun. The Most High is coming. Keep in mind. Your days are numbers. Your days, they're numbers, man. The Most High, He got it. The Most High, He'll bring the wrath upon you. Rebelliousness, the Most High got you. Right? Keep in mind. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Phinehas, the son of Eleazar, the son of Aaron, the priest, hath turned my wrath away from the children of Israel. You see, that's what I'm telling you, man. If it's not for that brother, right? That brother that got a zeal of the Most High, guess what? The Most High wrath will be upon Israel. Maybe the Most High will kill more people, man. The Most High will release more evil. The Most High release more evil, guess what? The evil, they'll seduce more people, they'll do more wickedness, and the Most High will kill more. But that brother, that he's done, what did that do? He turned away the wrath of the Most High. For the Most High, he was about to consume it. Right? Let's read it. He said, while he was zealous for my sake among them, he was zealous for the Most High, man. He was zealous for the sake of the Most High. That's the spirit that we bring in here, man. The Most High, he give us the zeal, man. That's why we rebuke you. That's why we tell you that, said the Most High. It might sound harsh, but guess what? That's what you need. That's the healing that you need. You so-called blacks, Latino, and Native Indian. That's what you need. You need that healing. You need it. Because you're out of your mind. You're bugging out, man. You're bugging out. He said, hey. He said, while he was zealous for my sake among them, that I consumed not the children of Israel in my jealousy. You see that? The Most High about to consume our people. Us in his jealousy. Why? Because of weakness, man. Right? Right? He said, wherefore say, behold. He said, wherefore say, behold, I give unto him my covenant of peace. Unto him, the Most High giving his covenant of peace, man. To that elder, to that brother that was zealous, so zealous for the Most High. Right? And he shall have it, and his seed after him, and his seed after him, even the covenant of an everlasting priesthood, because he was zealous for his Yahawah, and made an atonement for the children of Israel. You see that? That was an atonement he made for us, man. That was an atonement he made so that the wrath of the Most High be turned away from our forefather. Now the name of the Israelite that was slain, even that was slain with the Midianitish woman was Zimri, the son of Salu, a prince of a chief house among the Simeonites. So he was from the tribe of who? Simeon. The Most High ain't playing game, buddy. The Most High ain't playing no game with you. The Most High ain't playing no game. Or you repent, or you're going to die. Because he tells you in the book of Romans 6:23, the wages of sin is death. The wages of sin is death. Keep in mind, man. Keep in mind. The Most High ain't playing game. Let's go right here. It happened in several instances, right? Happened in so many instances, right? So you got to keep in mind, right? Right? You got to keep in mind. The Most High ain't playing no game with you, man. I'm going to bring this out. So like it, I'm going to bring this out quick, right? Right? You got to understand. You don't want to be tempting the Most High. You do your weakness where you think it's all going to be the same. No, it's not happening. Repent and keep the commandment. Right? So many evils happening every minute, every day. That should be enough for you to understand. Keep in mind. I will show it to you. Let's go in the book of Kings, right? Let's go in the book of Kings. 1 King chapter 18, right? We're going to read the same thing. 1 King 18. All right, let's go to it. 1 King 18. All right, right on it, right on point. Right? This is 1 King chapter 18. Right? You got to keep in mind. Right? Let me jump to right here. Let's read it. This is the book of 1 Kings, chapter 18 and verse 18. Let's read from verse 17. 1 Kings 18 and 17. And it came to pass, when Ahab saw Elijah, or Elijah, right, that Ahab said unto him, art thou he that troubled Israel? And he answered, I have not troubled Israel, but thou and thy father's house, in that ye have forsaken the commandment of the Lord, and thou hast followed Baalim. Baal, man, Baal. Same thing already. You go back in the time of Moses. That's a history, right? First King, Second King, First Chronicle, Second Chronicle, First Samuel, Second Samuel. Guess what? Those are the history of the so-called Black, Latino, and Native, that which you all know. We got to all read that. We got to understand. We got to be acquainted with that. We got to make sure that we know what the Most High says. We got to make sure. We got to make sure. We got to make sure, right? So this is our history. This is our history. Let's read it. It says, verse 19, 1 King 18 and 19. Now therefore, send and gather to me all Israel unto Mount Carmel, and the prophet of Baal, 450. So imagine. So Baal only got what? Our people that were bowing down to Baal, right? And they got over, there are 450 prophets. Imagine that. Doing all this sacrifice, all this ritual, all this wickedness, right? He said, which it had. He said, now therefore send and gather to me all Israel unto Mount Carmel, and the prophet of Baal, 450, and the prophet of the groves, and the prophet of the groves, 400, which eat at Jezebel's table. So understand that, man. You got 450 prophets, right? Right? And you got also the prophet of the grove, 400. So pretty much, it's like around like what? 850. 850. Just worshiping idols. Just bowing down to what? Abomination. Just worshiping idols. Just provoking the Most High. Like our people do today, man. Like our people do today, man. Like our people do today. Same old thing. It's the same thing they do to the Christian church, in Christianity, Islam, witchcraft, Halloween, Thanksgiving, you know, so-called Christmas, so-called your New Year. All is to worship Satan. You worshiping Satan, man. You bow down to a bunch of idols. Your Christmas tree is an idol. It's an idol, man. That's ready. So Ahab sent unto all the children of Israel, and gathered the prophet together unto Mount Carmel. And Elijah came unto all the people and said,